Speech off.
Hey you guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Emily, and in this video I thought I would do an updated what is the Braille Note Touch Plus. I did a video on this I think a while back. I forget when it was, but I thought, because I've gotten a lot of questions on this is kind of like in my personal life of like, what does the Braille Note do and how do I use it in my school life and things like that. So I thought I would kind of talk about a little bit of what the Braille Note is, go over the specifications, and talk about it. Just a little bit of background about me. I am a massage therapy student. So I am in school, so that's what I currently use this device for. And I have been a Braille reader since the age of 5, and around 5 or 6, somewhere in there. And I started using these types of products around 2013, 2014, when my first Braille device was given to me, which is the Braille Note Apex, which I still have, sitting on my bookshelf here next to me to my right, which is not in my camera view. But enough about me. Let's get into the product here. I'm facing it towards the camera, but blind girl props, I don't know if I'm fitting it in the frame. So hopefully I will remember to link in the description the website to the Braille Note Touch Plus, so that way maybe my sighted friends out there can get a better picture of what I am about to describe, or even yeah. But I would say the Braille Note Touch Plus is about the size of a iPad mini, but maybe it's a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier. But I'd say maybe slightly bigger than an iPad mini, but that's the size I kind of compare it to, like about the size of your iPad, if you don't have one of the super big ones. And what it is it's essentially a tablet with a it does have a visual display, but mine has a crack in it. If you can see that where I'm lifting up the Braille keyboard, don't judge the crack. This thing is going on 2 years old and has been through anything and everything, and I'm clumsy, and I'm just thankful that this thing's still alive. So there is a little crack in my glass touchscreen, but it's basically a tablet with a smart case on it and a Braille display is the short version. So I can write documents in Braille, I can read documents in Braille, write emails, receive emails, things of that nature, which is really cool. And then some apps that I can download, like accessible apps from the Play Store, and log in on them and use them. Like I use all the Google suite of apps, which are completely accessible. I don't know all the apps that are accessible, but a lot are. Unfortunately, I still do have to use an iPad because my school app isn't accessible on here. but it is accessible on my phone and on my iPad. But I still do a lot of my schoolwork on my braille note and email it to myself and post it on our school app. But enough about my school app. That's a side rant for another video. But a bit of a tour. The braille note, I'm just closing the case so I can explain, comes in this smart carrying case, and when it's closed and is facing you, like you're going to use it, sorry, y'all hear my iPad in my backpack, but when it's facing you, the cover that it covers it, it's attached by 3 strings of magnets on either side. In the front is like this kind of, trying to make it make a noise, like this nylon-y kind of material, and it kind of just protects it, and it's just like a flap, and it has a Velcro where I just keep probably way too many. I need to clean this out. Just like I keep like a little wipe thing that has a bum dot stuck to it that came off of a flash drive. They have a few flash drives in here, and that's what I keep. It's just like this little wipe thing that came with your braille note that I think you can use to like clean off the screen, or kind of I've used it to just wipe off my braille display if something's got on it. And that's all. That's the flap that covers it. And then like the case is just really protective. It has a smart 6 key front piece that you can use to type, which I'll explain more in a minute. But it pretty much just wraps around the whole braille note, and it's this hard, like hard plasticky material. I'm just tapping on the back of the braille note so you can hear what the material is for my blindy friends, my fellow blind eyes. And then it also has this nice shoulder strap so that it can come on and off. I had to rig one side with a key ring because one of the side pieces broke, and I'm about to call you out, Humanware. I was not paying that much money to get my whole case replaced when I could rig it with a key ring, and it still worked because that was too much money. So it does have a strap that you can take on and off if you do want to use it with a shoulder strap, which I do because, like I've said before, I am a little clumsy. So when I'm carrying this and it's not in my backpack, if I need to get up and walk around, I prefer to have the shoulder strap handy because I am clumsy. And so that's about the case. And so I flipped the top like nylon thing under the braille note so I can give you a physical tour. And the tour I'm going to give you, just for my fellow blind friends who are following along, this is going to be if the braille note Touch Plus is facing you and like you're ready to use it. And I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions that I get a lot as I get to each individual part. So the first part, like when the braille note's facing you, I'm going to start along the front edge. Or the edge, it's like, yeah, the front edge, which is like, yeah, the front edge, which would be where your thumbs would be if you have your hands on the braille display. So along the front edge, you have your 4 thumb keys, which basically I kind of call them like I kind of explain them as kind of like to sighted people, it's kind of like a scroll pad or like a touch pad, or kind of how to scroll, or kind of how you would use like a mouse, how you could use like a mouse to like move around. It's another way you can use your thumb keys to kind of pan and move around, and they really come in handy as far as that. And I love HumanWare's thumb keys. I've looked at how other devices are set up, and nothing beats HumanWare's 4 signature thumb keys as far as setup. You have 2 shorter ones, one on all the way to the left and one all the way to the right. That will pan you like your full braille display length, I believe. And then the 2 longer ones in the middle will the 2 ones on the 2 ends will move you forward line by line. And then the 2 shorter ones in the middle will move you front and back, like braille display length by braille display length. If I don't have that backwards, I know it when I'm doing it, but sometimes when I explain it, I get it backwards. And then in the center of these thumb keys, there is a triangle button, a circle button, and a square. And the triangle, which is like an arrow, can serve as like a it can serve as like a back, serves as kind of like a back button, and then like a back button, and then the circle button is kind of like is like a home button situation, or you can also press and hold and it will do your Google Assistant. And then the square button, you can like clear your apps, and you can go between recently done to your 2 most recent used apps and things like that. And you can also bring up your context menu. So that's what the front edge does. And then we're going to move up to the front face of the display. So the first thing you come to when you slide your fingers up from the thumb keys and those buttons is the 32 cell braille display, which the Braille Note Touch Plus, I'm going to turn it to hopefully show this to you. Like I said, I'm filming by myself, so I don't know if this is in view. Either comes in the 32 or 18, then we'll put this back down. Either comes in the 32 or the 18 cell models. And I preferably like 32 because I feel like I have chubby fingers. So I feel like it's a more natural reading length. And I feel like it's just like a natural line length. So I get a good amount of braille. And I had an 18 cell device before, and it just did not give me enough information braille wise personally. But what the braille display does, it's a refreshable braille display for my sighted friends who are just now learning about these types of braille products. And what they do is allow you to essentially use the thumb keys or space bar, the different ways of navigating around the device, and as you navigate, the braille changes and refreshes, which is really nice for me personally in class when I use this a lot is when we are doing things. A lot of our class lectures come out of the textbook, and so it's nice to be able to read my textbook in a braille format, because I've also used this as you can use it as a braille display where you pair it to another device and it basically mirrors what's on your screen to the onto the device, which is cool, onto the braille display. And so I can read my book in class and no one can hear it, or I'm taking notes, because I have one book in Word files, and I have another book that's in PDF. That's not my favorite to attempt to navigate, but I also have it like in an audio format. So it's also great that on here I can also take notes on the word processor, and it will show me back my notes in braille on the braille display. And I'm panning through right now just to show y'all how quiet it is. You kind of barely hear the click of the buttons as I push, but that's all you really can hear. And then right above the 32 cell braille display is what they call cursor routing keys. I'm about to try to show y'all again, which I doubt this works, but they're like little circles right above each. They line up to each, let me lock my braille screen, there we go. They pretty much they line up to each braille cell. And basically, this is kind of like when you point at something with a mouse and you could click on it. You basically just take your finger and you find like what app you want to open, or you could hit enter on the keyboard, but you can like enter on apps. You can find, these are really useful when I'm editing an assignment for school. I can just click with my fingers or click on these buttons and it will bring me to where I'm at in a document or whatever I'm working on, which is nice. And then the next right above that is your Braille Note Smart Keyboard, like a smart 6-dot smart keyboard, which is, if you're familiar with Braille, which I'm planning on releasing a video of explaining the basics of Braille, but basically this has the 6-dot Braille code with a backspace, basically backspace. I had it facing away from me. Backspace enter and a space bar. And so I can type in Braille on here and it will display it. And it will display it to me on my Braille display. But because it's a case, I can lift it up and there is a glass screen, so you can use it more as like a tablet, or if you're working on something you can show it to a teacher and they can see it, or a fellow student, that kind of thing. When it really came in handy was before I switched into the massage therapy program I'm at now. When I was at my last school, before I switched from psychology into massage therapy, I was having some issues getting my Braille Note to connect to their Wi-Fi. So I brought my Braille Note into their IT technical department, and because I'll explain more of this momentarily, but the Braille Note runs Android. That's how you're able to download some accessible apps, is through the Google Play Store. And, which I probably should have explained that more in the beginning. Oh well. I will explain that more in a minute, but I'll explain the I'll add a clip in the beginning explaining, or no, I'll just explain it when I'm done with this part. Sorry y'all, I should have scripted this video. It's a typical me all over the place, but yeah. So I was able to turn off my Keysoft like accessibility thing, the built-in part made by Humanware, and they were able to type in the Wi-Fi credentials and get me connected. So that practically saved my life. So that's cool, having both systems in both ways of doing things. And you can do touch braille. I've never gotten the hang of touch braille. I'm personally not a fan of it, but to each their own. To each their own, and how they choose to do things and what they want to do. So yeah, and that's it for the front face of the device. Then we're going to go to the back edge if it's facing you like you're going to use it. First, you have the USB port, like a thumb drive port. Then you have an SD card slot. Then you have a slot for the, like I think it's called HDMI. I'm not good with cables and the such, but it's basically where you can connect in a monitor. Yeah, a computer monitor, and it'll display. Oh, it's on your braille note. What's nice about this model compared to the original braille note touch is that this one will display you audio and video if you set it up correctly. And then what's on the back, yeah, is the connector for the case to make sure the case is connected properly. Then on the left side, again, if it's facing you to use, is your volume up, volume down, and power switch, like on and off, and you also could press and hold to restart, and your USB, like charging, USB-C charging. And then on the right side is the on the right edge is like the action button. I know it does play, pause in some apps, and I forget all that it can do, but yeah. And then you have the microphone and headphone jacks. And then on the back of the case, on the back of the device, there's a camera. I forget the specifications, but I haven't really taken that many pictures because this device is heavy, but it's nice if you need to because this has KNFB reader. And then if you take it out of the case, you can change out the battery. So the battery compartment is also on the back. And then this device, I'm about to go double check before I tell y'all, but I believe this device either has its internal storage. I believe it either has 32, I want to say it has 32 32 gigs of storage. I might have, it's either 32 or 64. But I'm about to double check that real quick. Because I forgot to check that before I started filming. Yes. Oh, I lied. It's actually 64. 64 gigabytes. You have a 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which is really good if you ask me. But I do most of my storage on either thumb drives or Google Drive or things like that. So I haven't even come close. I just checked my storage and I currently only use about 14 gigabytes of the internal storage. But I like to save things in either Google Drive or iCloud, or iCloud doesn't work on here, but I like to save things in like cloud storage when I can, or thumb drives. But yeah, and this runs, I want to say Android 8, and I forget the Keysoft version, but it runs all of, like, I can get on all that I need as far as apps. Is mainly, what I use this for is like, the main apps I use, I'm about to go through my main, like my menu, is the calendar, Google Docs, Google Drive, my email, sometimes use the HumanWare Buddy app, Chrome, the word processor, YouTube, YouTube Music, Zoom, and that's like the main apps that I use because I like being able to jump on Zoom with my braille note and read what's going on in the meeting with my braille note, and instead of having like speech go 90 to nothing and try to keep up with the meeting, so that's nice. But as far as school, I use this a lot, like I said, mainly to like read my school book, the one book that's all in Word documents, and I do sometimes navigate through the PDF that I converted into Word on here, but I prefer the audio files on the website, which I do sometimes listen to some on here, which is nice. So I do a little bit of light internet browsing. I like watching YouTube videos on here for school. So I do a lot of mainly YouTube, word processing, emailing, and Zoom, because I'd like to do a lot of my hardcore internet on either my phone or my iPad. So I do a lot of, mainly is word processing, emailing, YouTube, and Zoom. So, I thought I would just kind of come on here and just do a classic Emily Blapper video on kind of an update on the, like, I don't know, just description and what I use the Braille Note Touch Plus for. If you want more detailed of like how I use this for school, let me know. That sort of thing. I made this video long enough and blabbery enough for one sitting, so I hope y'all enjoy and stay tuned. I have a hope to get to 500 subscribers before the end of this year, and I'm currently sitting around 355, and I've been sitting there for a minute. So if you enjoy this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!